Welcome to Talking Heads on USA Global TV, starring the one and only wonderful Dr. Jacalyn. It's a prestigious place where world-class influencers and experts meet, and where you'll find the most trusted advisors and coaches for all things in life and business. Visit usaglobaltv.com to sign up for our newsletter, get the value you need, and be first in line to learn about events and giveaways and other valuable content. Connect with us. Email Dr. Jacalyn at usaglobaltv.com to talk about how you can become part of USA Global TV. That's USA Global TV, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to USA Global TV and Radio. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck. I'm the president, founder, and chief listening officer here at our network, where we currently have 29 live shows each week. Our show today is the United Kingdom News and Culture, and I just want to give a shout out to Jane Malian. She is the author of Scone or Scone, and she actually just did a show with us on the power of etiquette and manners about how afternoon tea can save the world. So I'm going to have fun reading this book. It's very comprehensive, and please do go ahead and purchase it over on her website. I'll put the information in the chat. Okay, today we have a lot of discussion around what's going on in the UK, and we have our experts here. They've been covering the passing of the Queen, the funeral. They're going to cover the coronation, and I'm thrilled to hear directly from them. So let's welcome them to the show. Simon MacDonald has the day off. First, we have DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. She's not covering the event, but she's most interested in the event. She's joining us from Texas. Hello, DIANN.
Yes, I'm most interested in the event.
I would love if you were covering the event. Do let us know if that happens. So. And let's bring on our expert correspondents, Helena Chard. Hello.
Hey, lovely to see you.
Nice to see you too. And Mr. Ian Palm-Turner. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
So Ian and Helena, have you had any sleep? I know you've been going back-to-back interviews. How are you feeling? You both look good.
You know, it's been so busy, Jacalyn. And I spoke to Ian this morning, and I just about was getting back to a little bit of sleep. But then last night, because we've been working through the previous nights, I just couldn't sleep. I was tossing and turning. So I still feel slightly exhausted, but it's been fabulous. I mean, you know, to have all of the world, you know, at our doorstep again, coming for such a fabulous ceremony. It's you know, I feel humbled. I'm really proud to have been part of it. Hugely. Actually, just to say as well that Her Majesty the Queen's recipe for Scotch pancakes has gone viral. I've said that because of the book that you just spoke about. So Queen Elizabeth II's, I think it's called drop scones, are stood the test of time, have gone viral, so it's gone mad. So everyone, I think, is going to be making Scotch pancakes. Nice.
Now, is there Scotch in there? Scotch, the alcohol?
I think Scotch. Does that mean Scottish? Scotch,
maybe.
Scotch pancakes. I have a feeling that maybe that's. Yeah, I think so. What do you, Ian? What are your thoughts on Scotch pancakes?
Do you know, I've never had them. The type of pancakes I used to have, my mother came from Aberdeen, and they didn't have pancakes. They had a thing called rowies. Rowies were morning rolls, but delicious morning rolls that were very crisp. They were flat like pancakes, virtually, but they were just one of those delicious buttery dishes that as a child, when because you know, my mother coming from Aberdeen, we used to go to holidays in Aberdeen several, you know, most years, and rowies were the morning rolls, which you can't get them anymore. So in fact, I might even call our Scottish connections to see whether or not he knows the recipe.
Yes, I've just get the recipe. I love the title anyway.
I'm just having looked at it. I think it's butter and maple syrup from what I can see. So it's a sweet pancake.
Yummy.
Are you pancake fans?
Is that what, sorry?
Are you pancake fans? Do you like eating pancakes?
If I have pancakes, I like the simplicity. So I like a little bit of lemon. and a tiny, tiny sprinkling of something sweet. Yeah, but I don't normally have them, but I used to when I was little on Pancake Day, you know, tossing
And I
them.
have to say, when in New York, do what the New Yorks do. And obviously, you know, the thing when I used to go to New York, you could go to a diner in the mornings and you would know that grits, pancakes, you know, bacon, you know, it was the part of the breakfast. I'd never seen it before. And the first time of actually pouring maple syrup over pancakes with bacon next to it, I thought it was a bit strange. But when you try the combination, it's wonderful.
It is. In our home, it was always and still is the Sunday go-to after church. Pancakes or Belgian waffles with eggs and maple syrup and bacon, and every once in a while cheese grits.
You know, I say this all the time. I should be a stick figure because I don't eat any of this stuff. And I'm always so sad. It's like, I don't get it. But back in the day when I was able to eat whatever I wanted, I loved chocolate chip pancakes with whipped cream, real whipped cream with chocolate sauce. Oh, so good.
You know, this turns every week into a cookery show at the moment. Have you noticed?
We're all stuff.
Obviously, you leave us hungry afterwards. You know, we're eating.
Well, let's talk about what you've been doing over the last however many days. You've been covering so much and you've been interacting with various broadcasters in different parts of the world. What's that experience been like? Who wants to start, Ian or Helena?
Helena, let Helena start.
You know, I think first of all, what I wanted to say as well is that I was reading a report, and the BBC has reported 5.1 billion people tuned in to watch Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. So that is actually 62.2% of the world's population. So it's actually the largest single event watched or streamed in history. Isn't that amazing?
Incredible.
It really is, because for all the things that we have going on in the world, this is something that really united people, which I think is, and everyone knows who she is, right? It's, you don't have to say which queen. It's like, no, she is
the queen.
Yeah.
Yes. But and that is so beautiful, but it also shows that, you know, people love England. We love what you stand for. We love everything about you, and seeing the history come alive of over the, you know, I guess hundreds and hundreds of years of what all it takes to get everybody in line, have the procession for people to say their goodbyes, and then the blessing of saying goodbye to the Queen as she moves on into heaven. It was breathtaking and just so beautiful. And everyone, I know myself, watching it, it was not just being part of history, but watching the most beautiful country that's done so much for so many people in the world say goodbye to their queen. It was very special.
Oh, that's lovely. Thank you. I mean, it was absolutely amazing, is what I can say. And you're right, you know, for me as well, the history being brought alive is absolutely fantastic. I love the whole, you know, years and years back. And I think we were also blessed here and the board, because everyone could see it, that it was actually televised this time. So we all got to see the pomp and ceremony, the fanfare, all the history, just everything, which to make this session. I mean, it was truly astounding. And you know, everyone's been saying, you know, Her Majesty the Queen was the best, and it's actually brought the best out of everybody as well. I mean, the crowds and the people queuing, you know, to pay their respects, and everyone was so polite and friendly. I mean, that's the story in itself, how people made best friends for life. Brought everybody together, and bar just a few, you always have a few troublemakers, don't you, which half the time has nothing to do with the event. It was absolutely, the event was seamless, and I think the way that the public behaved and joined in was incredibly seamless. And as I said, that the media that we spoke to, 24/7, everyone was interested in knowing about the Queen, about our history, about my royal photography and times we've met the royals, myself and Ian, and it was just great just chatting to people, and it was incredible. It's one of those times that I will always remember it and really value it. I feel so thankful to be being part of it.
Yeah, one thing I just wanted to add is, someone who has sold meetings and events for years, it's incredible how they put on an event of that size, magnitude. And it was, at least from what we watched on television, it seemed like everything was perfect. And that is so hard to do. I mean, even for a national sales meeting, let alone this event, it's amazing.
It's a huge amount of work that's gone into it over the years. Operation London Bridge, it's known as, and so much work's gone into it. And Her Majesty the Queen also put her final bits in as well. So I think, we look at it as being seamless, and it was, but for all the years it's been planned, and the amount of effort and work, that people gave, is the reason why it was so seamless, I would say.
I think, the things to remember on it as well is that the decisions were first made in the 1960s on what the look of the funeral would be like, and have been adapted recently. But every 6 months, they practice a lot of the events themselves as well, just in case the Queen ever died. And I think the reality is that, for people like myself, it was a test that I think all broadcasters have to go through, really. And I think it is an enjoyable thing. It is a very hard thing. And it was probably one event that I dreaded ever happening, partly because I would know how much effort from personally I would have to put myself through, but I think as well, for the country and the world at the same time, I never expected the Queen to die at this time, quite honestly. I thought she still had years of life still in her, and it was a tremendous shock when it actually happened, first of all, and then within hours, that was it. We were in royal funeral mode, and it just went on and on and on. I mean, personally, on the Thursday morning, I think I started at 8 a.m. on the Thursday morning, and I went through to 8 p.m. on the Friday night and had 2 hours sleep. We were getting constant requests for interviews. The Americans were coming in, bless their souls. The Americans were coming in for channels, and I think some of the American channels had old information, but that was interesting as well to deal with that. Helen and I worked with NBC, so we worked for 4 hours with NBC as well. So it was a very interesting time. But I think the funeral itself, I've never done anything like it before. So we had 3 anchors, myself and 2 others, and we went on for 6 hours, 20 minutes, which was the full length of the funeral. And so, learning how to do something like that was a great interest for the future.
Just a question I have for you, Ian, personally, with all the experience you have. What did you learn about yourself? You said that you knew what it would take for you to have to cover this event. And so what did you learn about yourself and your own capabilities?
I think I learned, Helen and I've got a huge amount of experience with events like this, but never quite to this level, never quite like to this strain. And Helena, goodness knows how many shows she did. She was, I could hardly get hold of her, over the past 8 days, 10 days, she's always on doing her own television things. We were, and sometimes we were doing back-to-backs. And I think the reality is it's a test. It's a test of whether you're professional enough to actually be able to do this. It's a test that Helen and I are being requested by all the major TV networks across the world to actually work with them. And when you get really lovely comments back from saying, well done, we really enjoyed it. And then we were getting callbacks as well from a lot of the channels at the same time. That is really the test that, we've done something to, I hope, a very high level, and so for us as professionals, it's what we do. And I think the reason why I dreaded it so much was I knew how much effort this was going to take. And the adrenaline process over 8 to 10 days is enormous. In the end, I was like a zombie. In fact, one day I actually forgot to eat. For 24 hours, I forgot to eat. It just really, it creeps onto you. And you become so focused on delivering what you need to deliver. And the time zones that we were working at across the world, meant that we were constantly not even thinking of ourselves, but just trying to give the best information. Helena, is a tremendous historian. She knows a lot about the royal family itself as well. And although we slightly differ in our opinions at times, we've both got concepts of how we think, royal affairs will roll out. But I hope, I think Helena especially is a great professional, at this type of thing as well. And, these types of events bring it to the forefront, how we actually work with something like that. And we came through it. I've never done a funeral before, and I've never done, for me, I had to do the funeral as well. So that was 6 hours, 20 minutes. And we had a 10-minute respite in the middle. And so, we were getting the feedback, and our figures, from what we can understand, were 1.2 billion. So a lot of other channels were picking up on our feed. It's a Christian channel, the Sky channel that I work with. And a lot of other channels across the world were picking up on that because they thought that some of the procedures and some of the channels, it was too morbid. And they wanted something that was rejoicing the life of the Queen just as much as talking about the sadness at the same time. And that's what we did. We took a definite view that we weren't going to be sad. In fact, someone called in and said, "You're laughing." And we were laughing at times because we were talking about some of the funny things that the Queen found funny as well. And we thought this was uplifting to people. And she would have found it funny. Well, she did find it funny because they were stories about her, and that her joy of she had the most naughtiest sense of humor that you could ever possibly imagine, the Queen. She loved, sort of funny things and things that would go wrong at the same time. And I think what we tried to do, and Helena is very good at as well, was bring the humanity of the royal family and bring the humanity of the occasion as well, but not to a point where it became sadness, and I think, we were on one channel where in London that we're on quite regularly, and at one stage I was sort of sat in the green room listening to what was going on, and it was becoming so sad, and I think the presenters were very happy when I came on and we just talked about funny things as well that happened to the Queen. It lightened the atmosphere because the Queen would not have wanted sadness. She would want rejoicing in her life, and she would want Britain to support King Charles.
Yeah. Yeah, that is such a great point that you made, because sometimes when someone passes away, people get angry if someone's laughing or because they're in so much pain, they don't know how to deal with it. But yet people want to have their life celebrated. right? You want
Well,
to
that's
celebrate.
absolutely, and that was the stance we took, and more channels were coming in to take our feed. As the day was going on as well with that, and it was what it was. It's I think Helen and I, we make a great team, and sometimes we disagree, and that can make interesting television as well.
I was about,
You want to talk more about that?
Do you know, I was about to say, I think some of the footage and some of the ceremony was a fabulous celebration to Her Majesty the Queen, and I found it actually really quite uplifting. Obviously the pomp and ceremony and everything, but there were small things that Her Majesty the Queen had put into her own funeral. She had her two dogs there, who are actually going to Prince Andrew and Fergie. She had her lovely pony Emma, who I think is 24 now, and in fact she rode her, I think, until she was 20 years old. It was like one of her best friends, and Emma was there at the funeral wearing one of her headscarves. Small things like the piper that she put on, which really quite moving. So there were some really lovely touches. I don't think it was all sad at all. I think it was mesmerising, and the pallbearers that were carrying her coffin. Wow! So 8 pallbearers, they're Grenadier Guards, and they were called, obviously, to carry the coffin. It was £500. It was an oak lead-lined coffin, and they were so calm and stoic. It's hugely heavy, but can you imagine, if anything went wrong? And apparently they were actually in Afghanistan, I think. Oh no, Iraq, sort of a week prior, and they were suddenly called up to be pallbearers. But now people want to give them, that they've been called to receive honours and everything, and I think they should. I think it's pretty amazing, and they were blessed as well in that they had the final private mission. In a way, there was almost like 3 ceremonies, but there was a sort of also a public event in various sort of public, roughly 800 people at St George's Chapel in Windsor, which was amazing. But they had the final mission to go into the royal vault and to actually move Her Majesty the Queen's coffin along with Prince Philip and actually lay them in their final rest place. And it just seems like that must be amazing, because the royal vault, there's something like 24 previous royal people in there at the moment. I think it takes something like 44 people as well. But just to go beneath into this, it just must have been amazing. And something else as well is that obviously the Queen is now in her final resting place, which is lovely, because obviously she's with her late husband and with her mother, Queen Elizabeth, and her father, George VI. But there's a new inscribed sort of plaque. It's on a local stone that's just been drawn up, and it's very simple. It's just their names and their dates of birth. I think it starts off with George VI, then Elizabeth mother, and then Elizabeth II and Prince Philip with their dates next to it. But I'm quite sad because I understand in a way, but Princess Margaret, her sister, is not not etched in there, although she is buried with them, but she's just her ashes. And I just find I suppose the history behind things, I find it amazing. I just absolutely love it. And just to say one thing, they're now in St George VI Memorial Chapel, so nobody's in the Royal Vault. They're actually in their own little place. I just find it amazing, and I actually did find some of it fairly uplifting as well.
I agree. It is uplifting, and I can't even imagine being able to experience going into the royal vault. But I'm so glad you brought up the people who I forget the proper word you used, but anyway, that held the coffins, because the precision of removing it off of its plaque when it ended up, and then they would say turn or whatever the proper word was, and it was just perfection. And you never saw anyone go, oh my God, that's so heavy. Anyway, it was beautiful.
And the probably the hardest part of the day, as you so rightly said, was lifting the coffin up the steps of St. George's Chapel, because that was sort of something else, and the amount of effort that took to actually do something like that. There's a lot of steps, and there was a slight stumble at one stage that was very quickly corrected again as they were walking up. But at the bottom of the coffin, there's another officer, and they're ready just to help push the coffin up again as well, because it's this was Britain at its best. This was Britain really showing the world the quality of our heritage and culture, and that we know how to celebrate. And there's only one country who is equivalent to that, is America. We love the pomp and ceremony of America, as well. And I think that our two countries really, know how to put on an event more than anything, and how to create value as well. And as you so rightly say, in my work, we were getting American channels coming in. We were going out to America as well. And there was this constant thirst for knowledge at the same time. Some of them knew more knowledge than me, and they were sort of telling me things as well. And I think, the history that we saw in the past week was just nothing short of miraculous. And probably one of the most interesting things as well was the vaulted ceiling of St. George's Chapel. That was done in the 12th century. And so the way that curvature with the wood was done, that was done in the 12th century. How on earth they did it? Because I don't think we could do it today. I think that may have been a skill that we've lost, because it is incredible, this chapel.
Absolutely stunning.
It's incredible. Every aspect that you're talking about, and also about, what was it, 9+ hours in queue that people waited online?
Oh gosh, more. 20 plus some people.
Yeah.
How do people do that?
People actually, finished work, joined the queue, and then had to go straight to work.
But you're not sitting down at all, right?
No, you're not sitting down. So there was a queue, a constant queue from the time that Westminster Hall was opened. Westminster Hall is part of the Houses of Parliament. So in actual fact, the Houses of Parliament is the Palace of Westminster. So the Westminster Hall was opened up, and then duly the vigil started, and sort of the walking back procession. But at one stage it was 24 hours. People were walking for 24 hours just to get to see the coffin as well. And it was for me, it was a strange thing, because Helena probably went through Diana's time. I was in America during that time, so all I could do was report from America on what it looked like. But I've never seen, the first day I finished recording at what we know Canada Gate. Canada Gate is where the media television were, broadcasters were, that it is right next to Buckingham Palace. and then you walk back through Green Park to get to the local metro. I couldn't get through. I've never seen so many people walking towards Canada Gate. It was like tens of thousands of people were just, it was like a tsunami of people. I've never seen anything quite like it in my life. And it took a long time to actually just walk against them. I think one of the things that I really enjoyed that we looked at was that the ceremony, the whole ceremony was done in a softness so that children could understand it but not feel too sad. And and I think that was really taken into effect as well. Where children, because a lot of parents have brought their young children because the parents would never ever see in their lifetime another event quite like it, but their children would. And it's sort of something that, young children, 3, 4, 5 years of age will remember forever. The day the Queen died, the day that, of the funeral itself as well. So there was a softness to the whole event as well that I thought worked extremely well. It was emotive, but it wasn't too sad. But I think the hardest thing, it still haunts me, Diana's funeral, and William and Harry walking behind the coffin at that time. And to have to do it again for the Queen, Harry in particular, I know a lot is said against him at the moment, but I think he is very emotional. William tends to sort of hold his emotions back a bit more, but I think Harry is that type of person where, whenever he's talking to people, when he was doing the queue with Meghan, that so many people want to meet them, want to talk to them as well. And the same for William and Kate. But it's I don't know, I think Harry and Meghan, are just as human as the rest of us, and they are portrayed at times as not caring and all sorts of issues happening. But I think they care just as much.
Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I also noticed there was press coverage about a spider. Did you see this about the spider on the coffin?
No.
No. There was a lot of coverage on that about how it was a good a sign of something really good, that the spider was right there as they were carrying the coffin and they zoomed in. I don't know. It's crazy.
That was the flowers in the garden.
Yeah.
It was saying goodbye.
Yeah, it was a good omen. That's what they.
I mean, there was a lot of talk. We talked a lot about the hereditary crown, and the Koh-i-Noor diamond, which is one of the biggest diamonds in the world. That is part of that. The crown itself has 120 precious jewels on it. Wow. It'll be interesting to see how Charles deals with it, because we were talking about positive stories, and when the Queen was going for her coronation, she knew she would have to wear this crown, and she also knew that, bearing in mind she was a very slight woman, she's never been large, she is very slight in stature, and she had to wear these very, very heavy gowns and this huge, very, very heavy crown at the same time. So she used to bath Charles every night, and she used to wear the crown when she was bathing Charles every night, just to get used to, the weight of the crown herself. And she told the Archbishop of Canterbury on the day of the coronation that there was so much weight on her, because of all the gowns that she was wearing, and these are gold embossed gowns, and the crown that she said as well. She said, you know, to give her a pull out of the chair. And then she told her ladies in waiting just to give her a push to get her going. And you see, that's our queen. That's our queen, you know. And I think those are the types of things as well that epitomise what I want to see, and I'm sure Helena as well. We want to see a strong royal family. We want to see a happy royal family, because, you know, like really the rest of the world, we're going to go through tough times, you know, and so a very strong royal family can actually help promote us across the world. And we were just talking before we came on air about the coronation. My guess, it's only a guess, and Helena may disagree with this. I think they may aim it for June next year. And they may aim it around about the 2nd of June, which is, you know, it was the Queen's official birthday. Yeah, the Queen's actual birthday was in April, but then she had an official birthday. And I wonder whether they'll have a King's official birthday around about the 2nd of June next year, because I think by that time we need you Americans to come back. we look at the strength of the American dollar at the moment compared to the rest of us. I'm starting to feel like Oliver Twist. We need a begging bowl and a little bit more. Come over.
Except our dollar is going down with inflation, so I don't know.
We're hearing at the moment that the dollar has become stronger against the pound, the yen. If you're looking at all the sort of the major currencies, euro as well. So you're gathering in strength by the day. So come on back, bring those Stetsons with you.
I have a question you brought up about the coronation. If you wait till June, then is he like king in waiting? But he's already king, right?
He's king in waiting. I mean, in reality, it's a ceremony, and it's a ceremony that obviously I think Helena may correct me on this, but I think it was about a year from when the king died to when the queen became queen officially. Because it was, yes, it can take that long. And if you think about it, but basically, it's only my personal view. I think the government, the royal family may want to use this as a springboard to remind people across the world that Britain is open for business again. After the COVID and after everything else, that Britain is open for business. And that time of year, a lot of people can come across. We want our hotels full. We want all sorts of things reopening again, because really a lot of our industries, our tourism industries, are known to suffering. And obviously, with our energy crisis as well, that is going to be even more of a problem at the moment. So the more we can attract business from across the world, the better.
I mean, I definitely think it will be June 2nd. That is my feeling. I mean, that's Trooping of the Colour. So Trooping of the Colour is June 2nd each year, and it makes sense to continue that. I mean, the other thought was possibly February, but it's not going to be. It's going to be cold, and I think June 2nd is warmer, and that's the time they tend to do it. But King Charles III, let's say. I mean, I think he also has just like. There's something about him now. I think he's going to be a great king. I really do, and I do think that actually lots of people are beginning to take him in their hearts. So I'm thrilled about that. He's, obviously he's looking towards slimming down the royal family, so less people working, but also the coronation as well. When we think it will be June 2nd as well, is probably also going to be slimmed down. Is my feeling. As he's mindful of the cost of living situation, the crisis. But I know one of the things that he's very, very keen on is inviting different faiths, different people to congregation for the inauguration. So Christian, Muslim, Jewish, Hindu. I'm just trying to think of various faiths, and I just suddenly can't put in.
Buddha.
Yeah, and he's really hot on that, and I think that's fabulous because it's so inclusive, and again, it brings everyone together. So I think a lot of thought has been put into it. I mean, even I don't know if anyone's heard, but there's even Charles, turning Her Majesty's Balmoral now into a museum, which I think actually would be amazing because the amount of people that would travel to see that would be huge. I mean, it's in wonderful grounds in Balmoral. I mean, I would probably want to live there, and there'll be like 70 years of relics, from the reign, and it means the staff as well could stay on. They could keep their jobs on the estates, and there's lots of talks of things like that. So I think King Charles is moving in the right direction. And it obviously means that things it's almost like cost-wise, it's fluctuating money, basically, isn't it, to support various things. So yeah, I'm really pleased. I don't know, how does everyone feel about King Charles III? Is there a slight hesitation or people pleasantly surprised?
I'm excited for him. He's waited a long time, and I think that he's grown in wisdom, as we all do the older we get, and he's going to take that wisdom and he's going to enrich your country. It's my personal feeling.
Yeah, and I think he learned from the best, right? He had access to the Queen, and I'm sure she instilled a lot of wisdom, and he got to witness a lot of things. So why not? It's exciting.
It's great.
I think it took a long time for people like ourselves to call him King Charles III, because at one stage I noticed in my dullness, in the wee small hours, I called him King George, and and I got this sort of surprising look from the commentator. I mean, it doesn't trip off the tongue so easily. King Charles III. It reminds me of the movies that there were movies in the past of sort of spoof movies about King Charles III. For some reason, every time I say it, still it doesn't seem to be quite real. It's like any minute now they're going to say Folger. It's just one of these. Several times we've either called him Prince Charles. I mean, I think the most. I felt so sorry. I was working with an Australian crew, and this is about midnight one night. And there's no one else in the media centre, just the Australian crew, and we're trying to keep warm, and we're trying to keep awake more than anything as well. And the presenter was sort of saying, he said, "I haven't made a mistake. This, I'm good. So fine, that's great." So he comes back from a commercial break, and he said, "And now we're going to talk about the Queen's wedding." And he for a second, there was this, and then he suddenly realised what he'd said, so there was a lot of times when people were saying slightly the wrong things. We just got caught up in the moment, and I think the reality was there was so much information flowing in. It was very, very difficult to actually really assimilate all that information as well and remember it. It was really interesting to see how different countries wanted different aspects covered as well. Some countries, America liked history a lot more, and they were very interested in that. Australia wanted to know what was the Queen like more. Did she have a sense of humour? Each country seemed to have its own definition on what they should be talking about and how they felt the Queen was, and just wanted confirmation.
Well, and I'm sure you can give yourself some grace considering how many hours you were broadcasting and if you made a little faux pas.
I have a question for y'all. No, go ahead, I'm sorry, Ian, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, both Helen and I mean, you know, we put in the hours, and I think that was the most important thing. That I think for the two of us, we didn't want to let our side down. You know, we have a lot of fun. We're very proud of what we do as well, you know, and sometimes, you know, we want to be as good a professional as we could possibly be. Helen and I, you know, and we both were, you know, really at the top of our games, so something like that. And I think, you know, we enjoyed it at the same time. We enjoyed the test, and hopefully, you know, we got through the test.
Well, congratulations. And I'm thinking on a future episode, I would love for you to share some of the photographs that you've taken over the years. I've seen some of them being posted on social media, but I'd love to have you share them here.
I was, it just goes to show that, you know, in between times, I was, you know, a few nights ago, I was just mulling through things. I just wanted, you know, I don't know why I was doing it, but I found some of my old images from the 1980s, for example, and that you probably saw, I don't know whether you saw on American television, the incident with the pen. And he was signing things and he got ink, you know, the pen, you know, wasn't working. And by sheer coincidence, I'd got a picture of Charles signing something in the 1980s. And I think I put a message underneath, the pen worked that time, you know. That's
great.
It's going to be an interesting time with Charles, certainly.
Well, I'm so glad that you are both here and sharing your wisdom and your expertise and your experience with us. It means everything.
Well, bless you. And we love it, you know. And, you know, people like yourself deserve the values, you know, and I think, you know, when we meet people like you, Helen and I both feel that we want to make it work for you all as well. You know, and what you've done, you know, in a short space of time is nothing short of miraculous.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Well, I'm going to need all that strength because I'm producing World Jenny's Day, the 10th of October. So it's 17 hours. So I'll be co-hosting, producing, singing.
I'll give you a few tips.
Good. I'll reach out to you. Thank you.
How to survive.
Thank you. I need to know that.
I've only done 6 hours, 20 minutes, so you know.
Whew, I'm looking forward to it. It's a challenge, but I'm up for it because it's such an important event.
It's going to be good.
Yeah, for sure. So it's time to close out, unfortunately. So I'm going to spotlight each of you for your final words for today's show. DIANN, Floyd, BOEHM.
God bless England, and prayers for everything positive, incredible that King Charles III will bring to your country and the world.
All right, DIANN. Thank you very much. Let's go over to Helena.
I think I want to say, so Her Majesty the Queen was a team player. That was crucial to her reign. And I think it's a nice sort of sentiment to think about togetherness, uniting, unity. I think that's what I take away.
Beautiful. Thank you. And Ian?
Well, I think it's all about loyalty. I think it is being loyal to our country. It's being loyal to the royal family, and it's being loyal to people like yourselves as well that really deserve the hopefully some of our opportunities that we can sort of bring at the same time, because I think you do an amazing job with this channel. We increasingly will probably be bringing more royal stories. Now we're looking forward to what's going to be happening on the coronation is the new thing. How is King Charles going to be seen across the world at the same time? So, but we love Americans as well. So we want Americans to come back over, and you will be welcome again with open arms.
Thank you so much. That's beautiful. And I'll just add my thoughts that, as we mentioned during this show, this is an event that brought the whole world together, and people put down their harsh words and their criticisms and their judgments. And I just wish that we could do that one-on-one and as a human being, to just be kind, stop judging each other, and let people speak and give them a safe space to share, because we want the same things for ourselves. Each of us wants to feel respected and wants to feel that we have meaning in this world. So I hope that we can remember that as the days go on and more things come up that tear people apart, and we can remember how to bring ourselves back together.
Beautiful.
That's it.
All right.
So thank you, everyone. We'll be signing off. Our next show is coming up, and I look forward to having you there. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all next week. Diane, I'll see you tomorrow.
That's right. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.